Hello, Terry. How you doing?
Big P.
You all right, mate?
I'm all right, man. How are you? You feeling refreshed?
Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, I'm back in the land of Nod.
Yeah. How was it?
All right, mate. All right. 2 seconds. Let me just let this dog out. She's doing me head in. Come on. Ugh. Yeah, I'm okay, mate. How are you been? You all right?
Yeah, I'm all good, mate.
You've been you've not been surrounded by sheep in Wales mountains like me, have you? Last week.
Mate, I'd have killed for that. I think that might be the way to live for us. You know that?
You reckon?
Yeah, man. Like, I mean, you get to a point in life you just want peace, don't you?
Oh yeah, I never saw a soul. So, okay, well, we'll get stuck in, shall we? Uh, Very simple, really. Moses Itauma. Now looks like they're not going to break Mike Tyson's record. Do you think they were never going to do that anyway? I think it would timing were all a bit off.
um, I think sometimes when you look at these things, you got to look at what's the traffic in front of him, right? And there's a lot of durable traffic in front of him to get to those belts. So what's the rush? Like, imagine having to go through guys like Joe Joyce, Chisora, Dillian, etc., when
Yeah.
you're 19, 20 years old. You could win those fights, yeah, but you might have to go pretty deep, and then that can shorten your career. So, what's the rush? And also, let a lot of these guys retire. You're going to get the belts, and then you're going to sit. You're going to sit on those belts for as long as you want to.
Yeah. Mm. You think he's got a world title run in him, Terry, and to be able to hold the belt and defend it?
Based on what we see right now, yeah,
Yeah.
but that's no guarantee. I'm just saying, based on what we've seen right now, yes, 6'5", southpaw, can hit hard enough and is really skilled. And remember, this guy's been boxing since he was a kid, so he's got the skills. And it's really just about how bad he wants it now.
Yeah, I heard the Dave Allen sparring story with him where he like just beat Dave Allen up years ago.
But he kind of sparred Dave years ago, surely. Maybe he sparred him at GB or something,
A couple of years
but
ago.
okay, because yeah, Tama would have been a kid.
Yeah, well, he were amateur, wasn't he, when he sparred Dave?
Yeah. And he didn't really have a lot of time in GB.
No, he didn't. No, the same as Dubai. He never lasted long there, did he?
So that was politics. They said to Daniel, look, yeah, I know you want to be super heavy, but can you just do 91? He's like, I can't do 91. Like, why am I having to do 91 for people I'm better than? And yeah, his dad was like, nah, pull him out.
Mm. It's I'd like to see somebody like Fraser Clark take on Moses Atome, to get back in mix, or Hughie Fury. I mean, everybody, yeah, people, Hughie can feel sorry for himself, and his team can say, "Well, it's politics, and why we're not getting a look in, blah de blah, and all that." Roll the dice. You've got to roll
But
the
why
dice.
does
You've got
Moses
to take a
Itauma need Huey
scalp to get
Fury?
in mix, haven't you?
Why does he need Huey Fury though?
No, exactly. But if Hughie wanted to get up there, he could roll dice and go for something like a Atoma. Because if Hughie beat him, then Hughie's in mix, isn't he?
But Huey's a 10-year veteran, so you're almost like a 10-year veteran can't really take pride in that win. I think
I
that's
know,
a
but they're
win.
saying it's next big thing, aren't they? This kid, and he's a bit special, aren't they?
Yeah, but Huey's not special, so there's no value in him fighting Huey. Huey doesn't have a belt. He's not a British champion, he's not a European champion. He's just Tyson Fury's cousin as things stand.
Yeah.
So you know the game at this point, Russ. It's not. It's really about who do they think will have the belts this time next year, and is the time ready for whoever will have the belts this time next year? If the answer is yes, go for it. If the answer is no, you say he's still too young. That's what they'll do.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Del Boy, it's mandatory for Dubar. What do you think to that, Terry?
Um, Madness, my utter madness. But this is what we love boxing for, right? Like Del Boy's now mandatory. They want to make that fight as soon as possible. They're saying, is that going to be the magical number 50 for Derek? Although Derek's talking about 5 more fights after this. And I think you and I talked about this where I said,
Fight well, he's 60, won't he, Derek, if he can.
as long as they're paying him 6 figures, he ain't retiring.
Yeah. Well, if he could come out and have 2 nights' work a year for, good money, it's not going to knock that back, is it? 'Cause it's all about money now, Derek's not. I think he knows he's not going to be a world champion, is he?
And also, a lot of these guys are doing what I call the regenerative protocols as well. So they're taking stuff, I can't really put it out here, but they're taking certain compounds that aren't necessarily illegal, but they can help with regenerating and recovering from traumatic brain injuries. So a lot of guys are taking stuff like that now.
There's a lot of people taking a lot of stuff, isn't there?
That's the problem.
That video you did on your beautiful podcast, episode 101, is it, with Larry? People should be up to that.
Yeah. It's a template, but it needs updating though. I think there's a lot of new stuff that's happening.
You need to dig Larry O up.
He's chilling, man. Like, you know what I mean? See, he'll be ready. We might do it on the 5th anniversary of the first one.
Yeah. Okay. I just wondered how we spoke about Derek getting to mandatory for IBF, but I just wondered how could they be talking mandatories when we've just had a fight with Parker cancelled? Parker Bacoli stepped in, Parker knocked him out very, very quickly and early. So no miles on clock for Parker. Bacoli's back at Q now, so he's gone. Why are we not talking Dubois Parker Terry that we were all bought into for months and then it's all gone away from us? Do you feel like people are playing musical chairs behind the scenes with rankings?
Who promotes Parker?
Queensbury, isn't it?
Do they?
I don't know. Do they? I thought it was Queen. I thought he was involved with Queensbury.
I don't know. It doesn't feel that way.
Well, he's managed by I forgot the guy's name now.
Higgins, isn't it? David Higgins.
David Higgins, yeah, and he used to be trained by Kevin Barry, didn't he? But he's managed by Higgins. He's trained by Andy Lee. I thought I don't know. Don't Saudis own him? It's all a bit of a mess, isn't it? Really? Do you think?
Yeah. So I think Frank's got the reins, right? So Frank's going to keep everything in house wherever he can. So Dubois versus Dalboy is a bigger fight than Dubois versus Parker. And before anyone jumps in the comments and says anything stupid, I mean that from a commercial perspective. Dalboy versus Dubois will sell more than Parker versus Dubois to the general public.
Yeah.
Yeah, comfortably, mate.
Where does all this leave Usyk though? I mean, is it going to be Usyk Dubois in July? They're talking, and the.
I think Usyk needs to
Slotted
rest.
into mandatory. I mean, he must be a queen tied to Queensbury. Then he'd be being slotted into mandatory slots for a Queensbury fighter. Do you think so? They've got a winner either way.
Yeah, I just think Usyk's resting. He needs the rest. Think about it. He had 3 camps for Fury, right? First time for the postponed fight. Then he had to do it again for the real fight. Then he had to do it again for the rematch. Do you know what I mean? So, and before that, he's fought Dubois, he's fought Joshua twice. You know when your body just needs a rest, man.
Yeah, yeah. Is that what you think he's doing, Usyk, Terry, resting?
I think he's resting, spending time with his family. Obviously, the stuff in Ukraine can't be easy for him. So, mate, he needs a break.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Jake Paul and Joshua. You've probably seen the back and forward and Eddie Hills, the Iceman, 7-0, 5 by way of no footage. Eddie Hills doing interview after interview after interview, talking about boxing being a business, and Jake Paul's a professional boxer and he's been in with Mike Tyson and all this. And if Anthony Joshua actually fights Jake Paul, and people in the know are saying it could happen, if that happens, where would that leave Joshua's legacy, Terry?
Oh, It won't happen. It won't happen. And there are two reasons it can't happen. One, we all know if Joshua leathers Jake Paul, it's a wrap. And if Joshua doesn't leather Jake Paul in that fight, we know it's a fix. And
Yeah.
that will tarnish Joshua's legacy. So you're not hiding to nothing on that one. I think the bigger thing here is you have to bring Joshua back in the eyes of the public, right? Because what's the last thing we remember Joshua doing?
And anything any good? Getting flogged by Dubois.
Exactly. So now we got to bring him back, right? And you associate him with the right names. So they talked about the Dubois rematch, but I don't think that's going to happen. Well, definitely not anytime soon. So now you're like, let's associate him with Jake Paul, put him in another audience, right? So they contrived this thing where Joshua and Jake Paul are calling each other. You think that's a few million quid's worth of publicity for free.
Yeah.
And then all Hearn has to do is keep talking this up, keep talking this up. And then when Joshua fights, I don't know, pick someone at random, Joshua fights Pulev, then we just go, oh, it's better than Jake Paul, right? That's really what they're doing with us here.
Piggybacking on it for some PR.
Yeah, they're not stupid. They know what they're doing.
It's in bad taste though, really, because you have people like my kids, the 12-year-old, and they're like, oh, Jake Paul's going to fight Joshua. Jake Paul will win that, Dad. See where I'm coming from? And I'm like, wow.
No, I like that though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, they're
because at least
talking
the
at
kids are
school,
engaged
aren't
with
they,
it.
about it? Kids, 12-year-old kids.
All right, your kids wouldn't have mentioned Joshua if you'd linked him to Usyk. They wouldn't care, right? So I don't mind that. If it keeps the kids talking about boxing, then it's the price we have to pay at the moment, mate.
They know who Jake Paul is and KSI, my kids.
Yeah, different era, mate. Different
Yeah.
era.
Very different era. Uh, Eddie's now come out and said Anthony Joshua suffered an injury and he's not going to be doing anything until at least September. They're going to make an announcement. Does it look to you and me that Joshua's kind of now, he's in no man's land, isn't he? If he takes a Jake Paul fight, he's going to get hammered by serious boxing pundits and fans. If he takes the
Remember,
Dubois rematch that he's got and it was signed for a rematch, no matter what, if he takes that, he gets flogged. They look unsure about the Parker fight. They don't call Fabio Wardley out, do they?
or
I'm
then the same gym.
looking. Sorry. I'm looking
Yeah,
at this and thinking, is Joshua just waiting it out for Fury?
I think it was on here, Russ, where I said people don't realize Joshua had like a mini, I don't want to say a breakdown, but a major crisis of confidence where like he didn't want to be in the gym anymore. He didn't want to box after that Dubois thing because his worst nightmare came true. He became an internet meme. And people will laugh, oh, you don't know anything. And I said, no, there were times where Joshua didn't want to be out of his house. Like it was serious. Whether he will ever talk about it, don't know. Because he never talked about his watch getting taken, did he? But
No.
he had real issues coping with that. And I don't think he's over it yet, by the way. And you got to bear in mind he hasn't really been in a boxing gym since. And remember, this is a guy who was always in the gym.
No. Yeah. It's like their eyes have been took off the ball, isn't it? Really? Do you think these lot, you Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, do you think they've got that much poke now that there's that hunger gone and they're just living off name reputation? It's like I spoke about the other night on here. I said that Mike Tyson, well, Kevin Rooney tells a good story that even though he didn't train him for this fight, he's saying he heard Mike Tyson was finished in camp for the Douglas fight. But other people were saying it was going on in the first Frank Bruno fight where he weren't taking it serious. Do you know what I mean? Kind of thing. So maybe after he beat Spinks, maybe I don't know, he lost some hunger, Mike Tyson, but he lived on name alone after that when he Mike Tyson. He's still getting millions to fight now, isn't he? He's been finished since late 80s. But Joshua, do you feel Terry that he's going down that same route where they're just going to dine out on what they've done in the past? Like Adam Smith and Spencer Oliver, they were asked a question, do you feel that Anthony Joshua deserves Parker fight? And they were like, yeah, absolutely. Look what he's achieved in the sport. But shouldn't we be talking about now? We shouldn't be nowhere near that Parker fight for vacant WBO if it happens because of his last defeat, do you think? I don't know.
Um, so I don't know about Tyson being finished for a start. Tyson was just like the only criticism you can have for Mike Tyson in his whole career is he didn't beat Lennox and he didn't beat Evander, right?
Yeah.
That's really the criticism you're going to level at him. So I think Mike just wasn't as good as people thought he would be. I don't think he was finished. I just think he wasn't as good as people thought he'd be, which is fair. In terms of AJ, now, do you give him the Parker fight? Why not? Like, who else are you going to put in with Parker?
No.
You know what I mean, Russ? Who are you going to put in with Parker?
Where do you put Joshua then now? Where do you put him, Terry, now? Where's he going?
Whatever he wants. He's earned that. He's earned that. We have to agree that he's earned the right to be like, yeah, if I want to fight Parker, I'll fight Parker. If I want to fight Fury, I'll fight Fury. Because none of this is happening without me.
Yeah. What do you think to the rumours that the Dubois rematch, Joshua were on the same money for rematch if he got beaten first one? It was crazy, isn't it?
Good negotiation.
Well, they've sold him off as this behemoth, roadman killer, right, who does loads of tickets. And I'm not so sure if he does, I know he does tickets, but I'm not so sure if he's big box office like he were years ago. I'm not so sure now. He's been knocked about, hasn't he? Before defeat, he's been knocked about. He's been down on the floor loads of times, hasn't he? Loads of
But
times.
who's selling more than he is?
Who's what?
Who's going to sell more than he does?
Nobody is still going to do most tickets in country, isn't he?
So every promoter is going to want him on their show.
Conor Ben don't do tickets. That's why they've had to build him up as the villain.
Yeah,
The
but
other one,
Joshua does.
the other
Joshua has
one.
Joshua has
Well,
done units. He did units when people didn't do units like that.
yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. You're correct.
He's like the 50 Cent of boxing. You know when someone just shows up and they do stupid numbers and they literally just shift the culture. And a bit like 50 Cent, he's kind of hanging on, isn't he? But there isn't anyone that can do away with him just yet. We don't have that. We don't have that next guy, and that's what's missing at the moment.
Mhm. Yeah, there's no ready-made replacement, is it? I'm not even sure if Daniel Dubois is because he's quit a couple of times, hasn't he? You
I
know.
think Dubois is very different. He's just a different personality. I think to be that Joshua type figure, you need to win the hearts of the nation. And I think winning that gold medal helped him. Um, and then I think that early run of his, where he was just splattering people, no matter how good or bad they were, he was just splattering people. That helped bring that feel good factor back to British boxing. We had a big guy who looked the part, um, no real scandal behind the scenes, and he could deliver. And so I've got some sympathy for AJ in terms of he helped bring it back. But look, boxing history has taught us that period from 34 onwards is just really hard to navigate.
Well, it's catching up with him now, isn't it? Because Fury's looking his age, isn't he? Tyson Fury. He never seems to look in shape. But I seen a picture of him the other day on social media, and I just don't. I just think you can't keep going out and living how he lives and then come back to the game. Now they're saying he's going to come back when he's ready. Whether he comes back or not, I don't care really. I think he will because they're not going to want to leave money on the table. But what I'm not hearing is I'm screaming for a trilogy with Usyk because these fights were two robberies. Why are they not screaming for that?
Is there money in that?
Hmm. Nah, I don't think there is. We've seen it twice, haven't we?
Yeah, exactly.
Turkey
But
weren't interested in the third one, were they?
nope. And so what do you do then? I mean, I'm sure they talked to Turkey about it, and he was like, mate, you lost twice, and you lost twice fairly. So let's look at something else for you. And if that's Joshua, and that's at Wembley, and that's how they both ride off into the sunset. Perfect.
You think it'll ever happen, Terry? Joshua Fury? Yes or no?
Yeah,
Yeah, too much money
yeah,
gets involved. Yeah. Okay.
yeah. There's too much money, and I think it's one of those questions that we can easily put to bed if they fight each other. So who was the guy of their generation in this country? Which one was it? Was it him? Was it AJ? Was it Fury? And then they'll fight each other, and there's none of this talk of, oh well, yeah, but he got Joshua when he was old because they're both old.
Yeah. Okay. You want to part two, Terry?
Part two. All
Part
right.
two. Part two. Cheers, mate. Thanks for liking and subscribing and leaving a comment. Please join us on part two. Uh, if you're interested in doing a Zoom with me and I can fit you into slots, send me a WhatsApp video number or just your WhatsApp number. I'll call you on video. And it's the bottom, is it that corner there? You should see porkycorner@mail.com. Just email me. And Cameron will get in touch with you or me. And we will arrange a bit of a chat on phone and a Zoom. Lou, that goes out to you as well, Lou Dover. All right. If you don't like any of my guests, you're more than welcome to come on here. Let's see what you're about. Because so far, all we've got is Lou Dover. You're pretending to be a guy who's been dead years, a trainer from America who died really old as an old man. So why anybody want to get up in the morning and go, today I'm going to make a YouTube account and I'm going to call myself Lou Duber. So if you want to slag Anthony Austin off, who comes on here and you say derogatory things about him, you're welcome to come on here, Mr. Lou Duver. Imagine that. Wants to be a dead guy, a dead old trainer at that, who was a lovely fella. I remember him standing up against Don King, Lou Duver, and Jose Sullivan after the Chavez fight against Meldrick Taylor, on it. He was screaming blue murder before that fight. So, all right then. So, pokecorner@mail.com. If you're interested, Lou, because we love to see what you've got to say. All right, because you're plenty rattling comments. One piece out.